Hey,
Hi,
Riding Sidesaddle.
here we are, friends.
It's Tammy,
And Lisa,
and we are here in our year-end review.
we're recapping.
We are. It is our, this is episode 12?
13.
13. Episode 13. Ooh, lucky 13?
I know, that's what I
Oh,
thought.
nice.
I think that there's like 13 lunar phases in a year.
Oh.
And if that's true, because I didn't research it beforehand, but I think that it's true, that means that there's 13 feminine phases as well in the year.
So those months when you have more than one cycle, it's because it's
yeah, like
catching up.
we didn't plan this, but this is a happy surprise,
accident.
right?
Oh, I like
right.
it.
Yeah, 13,
episode 13. So we're going to take a break after this.
a little one.
A little bit, just a couple weeks, just to get us through the end of the year, and then we'll start again.
We all know how the end of the year goes, right?
I know, I'm already all sorts of amped up about it. Not like, happy amped up. I'm stressed about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just need a little bit. And also, not that we're actually going to take all of that time to enjoy the holidays and prepare and get ready for the holidays, but we're also preparing and getting ready for 2023.
Right, for the next season of Riding Sidesaddle.
And we got some really good shit coming.
We do. We've got some really
Super
fun
excited.
things happening. Yeah, we've got 3 or 4.
I haven't even told you about some of my ideas yet.
Okay,
So
well, never mind.
we
I was
have-
going to say 3 or 4 people we've got lined up to talk to.
We have multiple things.
All right, never mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
right.
We have got planning to do.
Surprises galore.
Yeah. So let's put that aside, though. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think first things first.
Yeah.
So we've had 12 episodes so far where we have, like we've said, barely scratched the surface on a number of really important topics.
Right.
Just to introduce some things, really.
Right. And to introduce Riding Sidesaddle.
Right. Us.
Right? Yeah. So our first episode was wellness.
Yeah.
And so to prepare for this episode, this recap episode, I did go back and I didn't listen to all of our episodes in their entirety. I listened to little bits of them to just refresh my own memory. Like, what did we talk about? What was important to me? Were there things that we didn't talk about that maybe I wanted to? Were there things that I've done since an episode in my own personal growth journey that I might want to talk about now?
You've prepared so much more for this than I have.
Which is weird because I'm not generally that intent on preparing. Like, that's really not in my normal personality to do that. But wellness was our first topic.
It was.
Yeah.
Physical wellness, I think we focused a lot of our attention around that. What is your feeling about yourself?
Which is not all really physical wellness, though, right?
Correct. Right. We focused it on that, but
It started
there's
that
so
way, but-
many parts to that
Right.
that really, play a part in how do you
Yes.
feel about yourself?
I recently saw a picture of me that was taken last summer, and I was like, oh, girlfriend. That's not a good picture. It's not a good dress. And then I flashed to our first episode and went, I was going to stop doing that to myself.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm still working on that.
It's a lifelong thing.
It is,
It's
right?
a lifelong thing.
Right, it is. Yeah.
So I just had a birthday. I turned 49 a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. And so this piece has been coming up for me recently of, you kind of, you take a mental assessment of where you're at
Sure.
with life.
Birthdays are a good
holistically.
time to do that.
Birthdays are a really big thing. And mine comes close to the end of the year. So, that like,
2 for 1.
yeah, kind of like I'll get started.
You get a BOGO.
I'll get started in November and then wrap that sucker up in January.
Right.
Another shot of making myself feel shitty. But actually, I've done a couple of things in the last year or year and a half that I'm really proud of for myself, and we've talked about them a little bit in our session so far. And the big one that sticks out for me is yoga.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say
I
that.
know. Have my pants size changed? No, I'm still wearing the same pants that I did a year and a half ago. And that was the
It
largest
does not-
size that I've ever had to buy.
It does not look like that.
Oh,
It doesn't.
I am.
I would have guessed that you did go down at least one dress size.
No, I did not.
Right.
My boobs are smaller. Like, of course.
And I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, that's because my typical letter B, right? Like that's the first place that it goes away from. And
Your small letter B is still showing.
Yeah. I'm too cheap to buy new bras. So I just have a little extra. Like I can put a half a box of Kleenex in each side if I needed to. A Big Mac, maybe. I'm not sure. If I'm desperate. But the reality of it is that in the last year and a half, I have realized how important that has become for me. And not just from a physical perspective. Has it?
We've talked about that.
Has it changed me physically? Absolutely. I feel a lot stronger. I have self-confidence because I can do things from a flexibility perspective that I couldn't do before. I was really having a lot of pain and stiffness in my shoulders. And over the course of the last year and a half, that has helped to work its way out. I have a lot more strength. I have a lot more flexibility within my shoulders. And now it makes me sound like a super old lady. But
but you can pick yourself up off the floor.
Yeah, I can.
Without grunting and struggling.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, not all the time, but yes. But in addition to that, it has really helped me from just a wellness, holistic wellness perspective. I take that time for me.
And we've talked about that on some of our previous episodes, how there have been times where you've tried to lessen your plate, lessen your burden. And
it
so
is the
you've
first
removed
thing that still goes.
It is. And then after a week or 2, 3 weeks of that, you're like, oh, so that was keeping me together. I got to put that back on my plate.
Correct.
Yeah. Mentally.
When all of the shit goes off the rails, it is the first thing that goes. And and right now it has gone again. But I'm scratching and clawing to bring that back desperately. Because I know that I need it emotionally. I know that I need it physically. I can feel my tension in my shoulders coming back again. Like I can only put maybe a double cheeseburger in my bra right now. With the works.
Hold the Big Mac.
But from a wellness perspective, that is the one thing that I can say has changed my life in the last year. It's so important for me.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really inspiring. As I sit here with my shoulder achy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Sure. It sucks because it does not feel good to get through that crunchiness.
No.
But after...
Crunchy. Yeah, that's a good word.
After
I feel real crunchy.
You can feel it. You can feel yourself increase strength and increase in motion. And it's not like immediate. It hurts.
No, of course not. Yeah.
It hurts.
I know that you and I have talked about me joining you in a class.
Yeah,
and
coming up soon, actually.
I know, but one of the things I mean, so I've got this fear of exercising in public because I'm at my highest weight currently. So there's that, right? Which I know I can get through, but when I do yoga at home or I do anything on the floor at home, like it hurts, number one. And number two, like getting up is unseemly. It's unsightly. So, like,
I do get it.
What you're saying to me is very inspiring because while it has been a year and a half, it didn't take a year and a half for you to see those changes.
No.
You've just experienced all of that for a year and a half.
That's right. And I can tell you that even today, when I go to yoga, I am the oldest bitch there.
You know what? I am the crabby old lady everywhere I go. I said it before, I'll say it again. I am very confident in that role.
There is this woman, she's like in her late mid-30s. She has a couple of kids.
Yeah.
She fucking does marathons and triathlons.
Oh, gosh.
And every Sunday, this old bitch is sitting next to her in yoga. And we're doing it. Can I do what she does?
No.
Fuck no. I will never again in my whole life do what she does.
Comparison is the thief of joy, so don't let that stop you.
That's right. And she doesn't, her and I have, become quite friendly.
Oh, how wonderful.
And it's fantastic. Young, cute yoga girls who look fantastic in spandex and cutie cute stuff.
I am your crystal ball, just so you know.
I am not it. But you know what? I'm not there for any of them.
No, you're
and
there for you.
And they're not comparing me, right?
I know.
Like, I'm there for me.
For sure.
So my big ass, my big little letter B, is sitting there, and I'm going to do it. And I love it.
Gosh.
I love it every
Good
time.
for you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
And inspired. I don't know if I'm all the way to inspired to join a class, but I'm inspired.
You're joining one in a couple of weeks.
I will participate in one. That does not necessarily mean I am joining.
Fine.
So I have 3 grandsons. My middle grandson is tomorrow. He'll be 5.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So last Friday, I asked if I could have a sleepover with him so we could do a little birthday shopping.
Yeah, celebrate with Gigi.
Yeah, for sure. And I've just been missing him terribly. It's been a while since I've had some good time with him. And so anyway, we made this plan and Friday night was going to work. So I went to pick him up and I asked him, so your birthday's coming up and he's really excited. He's going to have a birthday palooza weekend. He's got all kinds of fun birthday things. Yeah. I mean, he's 5, a whole handful.
Right.
That's a lot to celebrate. So I said, I really think we should just go shopping for your birthday and you can buy whatever you want. So we're in the parking lot and I'm driving our big Tundra, right? So I need a big space and it's Christmas-ish, right? Yeah. It's getting to
parking lots
it's
are busy.
December. Yeah, parking lots are busy. So that I have a hard enough time parking this thing when it's not busy. I'm going to park all the way at the end and just not be bothered, right?
Need some space.
Yes, right. And so we get out of this truck and I say to him, well, we got a long way to walk because we're all the way at the end of the parking lot. And I said, but you know what? It's a good thing that we have legs that work and we can walk that far. And he says, his almost 5-year-old self, yeah, we can't run. You can't run. He said, you can't run. And I said, what? What do you mean? What do you mean I can't run?
Uh-oh. This could be going one of 2 ways right now.
This is rule number 1. Don't ever ask a question you don't already know the answer to or don't want to know the answer to. If you can't handle the truth,
right.
Don't ask.
Right. Especially a 5-year-old.
This Gigi asked. So he looks at me in his cute little 5-year-old face. And he has such a sweetheart. He does. He's not just a sweetheart, but he has a very sweet heart. He does not want to hurt anybody. And I could see the conflict on his face. You just asked me a question and I have to tell the truth. I don't want to say it, but now you asked me, so I got to say it.
So I don't know if you know this about yourself, Gigi.
But your legs are big.
Therefore,
you cannot run.
I'm here to tell you.
And he kept shrugging his shoulder and looking kind of, sideways. He really was trying to be gentle when he told me, your legs are very big and they're round. And I mean, my legs are big. My legs are round too, but they're skinny. And your legs are, shoulder shrug, big.
So, Gigi, I don't know if anybody has ever told you this before or if you've made the connection yourself. But I just have to give it to you.
You got big legs. He did not say I have a big ass. He said I have big legs.
Good.
He was very specific about my legs. Maybe at 6 we'll talk about my backside. But at 5, my legs.
Only the legs.
Just my legs.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, fair. The legs are really the ones that are going to be.
That's what he sees.
Making this run.
He's still below. I guess eye level is below my rear end, which is hard to believe because I'm so short. But and he's not short, so I don't know. But that was his deduction that I can't run because my legs are too big. They might start on fire. I'm not sure what he was. I don't know. He didn't say that. I'm extrapolating. I don't know, but wellness, the things people say to you. That was in our first episode, and And
In the
it made me
sweetest way.
giggle. Of
Aw,
course,
and
he
it's
was
so
not trying to
sweet.
be hurtful at all. He was painfully truthful, though.
So what do you want for your birthday, kid?
About that shopping spree, we just cut that budget in half.
Let's head off to the exercise section.
Way to go, Park. Way to ruin a good time.
Here's a pointer for you for when you're older.
Right.
Don't answer that question.
Don't answer. Just pretend you didn't hear it. It's a trap. And honestly, his face kind of looked like he knew it was a trap, but he had to answer because he's just, he's just sweet and
Out
kind.
of the mouths
and
of
he
babes.
I know. So maybe I ought to hang on to that for 2023 and use that as my inspiration for making my legs not so big.
Right. Right. Aw.
Yeah. So that was episode 1.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're going to hit on all of the
No, we're not.
episodes, but that just happened recently, which was a good reminder that I should take my own personal wellness a little more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Even my 5-year-old grandson is like, so you're getting a little big. In the kindest way possible, you're getting a little big.
And it really isn't, like you said earlier, it really isn't all about physical wellness, right? We're in the turn of our lives.
That's it.
Right? It's like not going to be, running marathons and supermodel level at this point.
But it's also not going to get easier to play on the floor with your grandkids.
But that's my point, right? Like this is holistic,
Yeah.
right? You do things to create wellness within yourself, and ultimately the physical wellness is going to come along with that.
Yeah,
It just is.
it is. I can remember as a kid, playing on the floor with my grandma. I don't remember how old she was. I don't know. She looked old to me because I was little, right? But I don't. If I had to guess, I'd say she was maybe in her 50s.
Yeah.
So probably not really
So
that much
old then.
older, but right. Right. But as now somebody in her 50s, not
Not
much
that
older
old.
than me. And I remember watching her get off the floor.
Yeah.
And I remember her saying out loud, "Come on, straighten up, straighten up." And she was talking to herself. She had a hard time standing up straight. Now, this woman also had 9 babies.
Yeah.
So, I only had 2. So
Right.
I've got
Fair
nothing.
enough.
I know.
Fair enough.
Right. And I'm now at that place where I'm noticing myself getting off the floor like her. I maybe don't have the back trouble to stand up straight, but just getting on the floor and off the floor and sitting on the floor and not feeling things hurt from all that extra pressure on a hard surface. Like even just that is
time.
something I could fix.
Yeah. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. Nice. So episode 2, I was trying to remember as we were talking.
Intuition.
It was talking about intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the signy signs.
Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know if I have anything to talk about in retrospect about that. Do you? Have you had anything what really smacked you in the face?
Oh my gosh. So many things, but now
have.
of course I can't
remember any of them.
Right. That's how that goes. Well, I guess one of the things that we're going to be talking about more in 2023, but some of the things that we perhaps attribute to, I don't know, some of the trends that are common now, empathic and intuitive and things like that. I'm realizing that there's some of these things that come off as maybe intuitive or empathic, but they aren't necessarily entirely coming from that
It's
place.
not really a woo-woo thing so much as maybe a trauma
response thing. And I personally, we'll talk about it more in 2023 because we got some things planned specifically around that. But it's kind of on that same vein where, I honestly thought I know these things because I'm empathic.
Right.
And I can tell and I can sense
I'm
and
special.
Yeah.
Right. I have this gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm starting to learn that maybe that gift was environmental and not necessarily,
Perhaps. And
given to me by God that you will just know more than people who walk next to you.
it's just really interesting because I think that these types of learnings, these self-discovery types of learnings come when they're supposed to come. And I'm not going to get into all of the hairy details. We'll do that in 2023, but it's a place of self-discovery. Am I empathic? Yes. Am I intuitive? Of course, we all are. We're all empathic, frankly. It's, how you develop that skill. But there's also on the opposite side of that, right? Things that you might imagine can fall into that empathic or that intuitive bucket that just aren't. And those are things that you have to pay some attention to. So I think that.
Well, that'll be fun to dive into.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's like a big old pile of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
great.
is.
Great.
That's
Can't
okay.
wait. Can't wait for next year.
That's okay. So, yeah, intuitive.
Yeah. Ripples of kindness.
Ooh.
That was, I love that episode, honestly. And I've taken it to heart a little bit. I have not, I don't go a lot of places, so I don't have a lot of opportunities to see people and say nice things. But I did have an opportunity. I was at the hospital getting into an elevator. My grandson was born, and so that's why I was at the hospital. It was not something tragic happened. Something wonderful happened. And my husband and I went to visit the baby the next day, and we get in the elevator, and this woman walks in before us, and the poor thing looked like life had chewed her up and spit her out. Her clothes didn't fit. They were probably 2, if not 3 sizes too small. She looked very sad. She looked just, again, life chewed her up and spit her out.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her shirt said, but her t-shirt, it had a saying on it. Again, I don't remember what it said, but I do remember in that moment, remembering our Ripples of Kindness episode. And I looked at this woman and thought, you need someone to be nice to you.
Yeah.
And whatever her shirt said, it was, again, I don't remember it exactly. It wasn't like, it was not an advertisement for something. It was some kind of inspirational type saying. And I looked at her and I said, I really like your shirt. She pulled it out. She stretched it. She stretched it way out, and she looked at it herself and she said, I really like it too. And then her floor, the doors opened, her floor was there, and she got off, and her face lit up.
Yeah.
She had this big smile because somebody noticed her and said something nice.
Yeah.
It cost me exactly nothing.
Right. But it rewarded her.
It did.
A whole bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
She looked like a whole different person emotionally when she walked off that elevator compared to when she walked on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So just paying attention, taking care, noticing people in your surroundings.
Yeah. Agree. I think one of the things that stand out to me from the Ripples of Kindness episode is honestly how much feedback we got from people who are listening, people who I consider part of our tribe, to be able to say, I listened to that, and it made me recognize. It made me realize exactly what you're talking about, right? In this moment, I need to be able to offer up some kindness to other people. And they circled back and shared that with us, which is exactly what my
that was the point,
right? Like, what happens if you share that back to the person who gave it to you, and that changes how substantial that ripple is. Man, it just like fills up my heart.
Oh,
like fills it straight up, which is super awesome. I saw people tagging other people, saying, "Hey, I listened to this, and I thought of you." Right, because you're just such a really inspirational person as it relates to sharing kindness and offering that up.
Right. In that episode, I mentioned that I had a conversation with an older lady in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I ran into her recently. And I told her, I said, hey, you made it on the podcast. And she was like, oh, God, I can't even believe it. I said, no, it was a good thing. It was a really good thing. I said,
Oh,
would you, and she's had a couple of strokes, so she sometimes needs a little refresher.
Yeah.
And I said, remember when you told me that you went to the dollar store and you told that gentleman that he was really good looking? She's like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Woo-hoo.
Right. And like her face lit up again, right? So now we're reminiscing about a story and her face is lighting up again. So to your point, that ripple just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
It just expands exponentially.
It does.
And she shared with me, so she was a hairdresser by trade, and I don't remember what she said her mom was. She may have been a hairdresser too, I'm not sure. But she said, my mom always did that. So I learned it from her. And whenever someone would walk into my salon, I would find something to compliment them on. It costs you nothing to do that.
Can you imagine, really, if we all took that to heart?
Right.
Honestly.
And not just with people that you encounter outside of your house. What if, this is just coming to me, what if someone you live with walks in the door and you say, hey, I'm so glad you're home, and mean it?
Yeah.
I'd feel really good if someone did that when I walked in the door.
Right. Agree.
I mean, someone usually will say, hi.
Right. Or, yeah.
Hi.
Or give you a whole bunch of questions that they've been, tallying up to.
Right. I'm glad you're home because I need your help.
Right. This and this and that and that. And don't forget this. And now, bye.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle of living, sometimes it's hard to remember
so easy.
that the people in your life sometimes just need someone to say something nice to them too.
So much.
As do you.
So much.
Right.
That's a good one. I do like that episode a lot too.
Yeah. Where did we go after that? Do you remember?
Well, I wish I had YouTube up right now because it would tell me. But I think we started talking about, the bacon. Girl, how could you forget the bacon, for crying out loud? Lord.
That is still a hot button. I am not. That's going to be a hot button forever. Honestly, it just is.
Yeah, I think so. In researching other episodes, all of them really tie together often a lot.
They do, right?
So Bringing Home the Bacon talked about, kind of that set of expectations around the household and, what are unspoken lines of responsibilities as it relates to taking care of children and the household and some of those things that just transcend generations. And then what kind of clash that has when we also, as women, have full-time jobs and, we're bringing home the bacon, or, maybe we're the primary breadwinner and all of those things, it just jumbles up quite a great deal. I do think that it is absolutely a trigger. My daughter, she listened. Thanks, Deidre, for listening. She did. She gave me a little bit of feedback on this one.
All right.
She was like, I'm glad that you pointed all of this out because it is a real big problem, but it would be really nice if you would be able to offer some suggestions on how people can make that shift. And I was like, yeah, well, that's a good question.
Raise your son to clean toilets, I guess,
that's
right?
Exactly what she said,
Yeah.
right? And the only way that she can see to be able to change the current here is to continue to hold conversations with her husband.
Yeah.
And she has a little boy, right? To say,
you can raise him different. So
that's right.
It's not the outside work is the man's work.
That's
kind
right.
of environment for him.
That's right. So I think that she took that to heart. She watched me growing up.
Yeah.
So, and now she's like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I can't do this. This is unrealistic.
Right.
And it's making me crazy.
Right.
Literally crazy.
Right.
It's making me a very unhappy person.
Yes.
And it has to stop. So she was hoping to get some feedback and, your point in the episode, marry somebody who cooks. I'm not sure. Honestly, we opted, that episode was very timely because I was having a crisis state at that point in my life. And we chose as a family to bring somebody in to do the cleaning.
So you outsourced it.
Yeah.
That is not a terrible option. If it's something within your means, that is
not a terrible option.
at all.
I have been so unbelievably grateful. Like I send the person who comes to clean my house every time she comes. I send her a note afterwards, and I think she probably thinks I'm crazy. But I have to tell her
extra thankful.
I have to tell her how grateful I am.
Yeah.
And like how much of a better damn house cleaner she is than me. Like it's remarkable.
I say all the time, I'm firing our housekeeper.
Right?
I've had it.
She drinks on the job. She's kind of bitchy. She really doesn't do it very well.
Good job at all. Yeah.
I had since then said to my husband, I'm like, so listen, if our financial situation changes, we're selling things before we get
the house cleaner.
That's right. Like that's how important it is to me.
Wow.
For my well-being.
Right.
For my well-being.
Right.
We get in less arguments.
Wow.
Like
That's better for your marriage.
It is.
Yeah.
It's better for all of us.
Yeah.
My husband takes his shoes off at the door, or if he forgets, he like walks backwards with his shoes on so that he can take them off at the door because he finds value in the fact that she just washed the floors.
Someone to do it.
Well, I'm not going to make that connection, but
I did.
It is an observation.
Yeah. Yes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have not outsourced it. My husband and I have had that conversation recently that if my employment needs to change and I have to go back to the office full time, we're hiring somebody because I am not spending my very, very few precious hours off cleaning.
Right.
I'm not. That is not where I find joy at all. I do it because it has to get done.
That's right.
And if I have to, at some point, if my employer says you have to be in the office or you're fired, or if I have to get a new job and the deal is you're in the office, then
this comes off the table.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And my husband is very much like he doesn't like, he really doesn't like the idea of strangers being in our house. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, we can't do that. We can't have strangers in here. I was like, figure it out. Because I'm not spending my off hours. You don't spend your off hours cleaning. I'm not spending my off hours cleaning.
Amen.
The only reason it works right now is because I'm home and I can do it on my lunch hour.
Right. And it still pisses you off.
Of course it does.
Right.
And there still have been times where I have taken a day off and I find myself scrubbing floors.
I know.
And then he walks in and I am on 10.
Yep.
Steam rolling out of my ears, and he tiptoes backwards but out the door because he's like, this is not a safe place. She's really mad. Yeah, because why do I have to spend my
vacation
day to scrub a floor?
I know. I get it.
We have hardwood floors throughout our entire house. You don't scrub the floors, but I do.
I get it.
I had other things planned for today, and I may have done those things, but then it was like, well, while I'm off, I may as well do this too. I don't want to do it on the weekend. I'll do it now. Total horseshit.
It is. It is horseshit.
Yeah.
And it does not smell like bacon. It smells like horseshit.
It smells like horseshit. My husband might do the cooking, and I am thankful for that. And the meal planning that goes along with that. And shopping, I am thankful for that. But that does not mean he does everything. He does not. I do everything else.
Right. Yeah. Still a hot button.
Still a hot button.
That's got to be like a to be continued thing. We're probably bringing that back.
Something we'll be working
in
on
2023.
I'm
not sure exactly how, but we will.
It might just come up
All
suddenly.
Right. Well, we could talk about this one forever, but let's move forward.
Moving along.
Yeah. We had 3 of them that really connected so closely that we recorded shortly thereafter.
Like the boundaries and
filling your well.
Fill your well and the boundaries.
And who am I?
I've done everything for everyone. Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been trying to pay more attention to my well. And I can't say that I've been necessarily successful in filling it. I have been paying more attention to it. Mm-hmm. We were recently going to be out of town for a few days, visiting family, and in Wisconsin. It was deer hunting season, and I realized I was going to have a handful or so of days with people.
Too much peopling.
Right. And it's not that I don't like them. It's nothing to do with literally anyone else. This is about me.
Yep.
And so when I'm looking at my calendar, seeing it's full, I'm going to need today, I'm going to need tomorrow, before we leave, I'm going to need some time by myself. So whatever you got to do, I hope it's outside of the house, because I need this time to myself.
Right.
For myself. So I recognize that. I did not. I mean, it's winter in Wisconsin. My garden is sleeping. I was not outside planting things or cutting beautiful flowers. But I do have a studio in my basement, a pottery studio. That's dirt. I could have gone down there. I didn't.
You started though, didn't you? So you started prepping for it?
Yeah, it wasn't that particular weekend I didn't, but there was one time where a weekend recently where I was like, that's it. We didn't have anything going on.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been even before deer hunting weekend, but I thought I'm going to take some time this weekend, and I'm going to spend time in my studio.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. Unfortunately, it's been so long since I've been down there, my clay was too hard for me to work with. So rather than getting to actually be creative and make things, I mostly just cleaned up and reorganized, and I put my clay, you can rehydrate it. So I set it aside to rehydrate, and that's been a few weeks now. It's definitely rehydrated. And I haven't been back there again. And now it's December and it's Christmas season and every weekend is full.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get to fill my well in that way either. I have been trying to spend a little bit of time knitting just as to do something for myself. It's not, I like to knit. It doesn't fill my well though.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Although I have been listening, it is
bit.
a pastime. It's something that I can do in the evening after everyone goes to bed. I get a little bit of quiet time for myself, and I can do some knitting then. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's kind of how I unwind.
Yep.
Which, it's not like it depletes my well.
No.
I just don't feel really energized.
Mm-hmm.
So there was another time since we recorded that Fill Your Well episode when my husband went to Chicago to watch football with a friend of his, and I had my whole weekend planned, and very excited about
what are you going to do? Nothing.
So when I say weekend, it was really one day. Like they went Sunday morning and they came home Monday. So it wasn't really a whole weekend. But I broke out my watercolor paints for the first time in a long time. Aww. And I'm at the counter with all my stuff spread out. And I find myself humming and singing, and I'm in the house all by myself. So, off tune, and who cares? I realized what I was doing. I realized how happy I was. Rather than it just being something I'm doing,
right.
I'm just going to paint.
Right.
I had a reflective moment and realized how full I felt. Just bringing my stuff out. I hadn't even started painting. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know what I was going to paint yet. But just bringing out all my paper and my paints and my brushes and
Do you think that's an inner child thing? Do you think that your little self was like, "Ooh, I have no idea what I'm even going to do, but this is so much fun."
That was exactly how it felt. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do, but look at this. It's like when you open a brand new fresh box of crayons. Yeah. Like that. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's how it felt. So I'm singing and humming, and it wasn't even any particular song. It was just some little, ditty I was making up as I went along. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it felt so good.
That's awesome. Good.
Right. It just felt so good. So who cares if I didn't get into my pottery stuff?
You can fill your well in many, many ways.
For sure.
Right.
I
cracked open my journal on yesterday, and it was the first time that I had written in it since November 12th.
Oh, so it's been a little bit.
It has been. It felt really good. I, again, very much like you, it is one of those solitude things, right? Mm-hmm. There has to be a perfect space to be able to do it. Yeah. Nobody's out of bed yet. It's Sunday. I have a teenager at home, so I didn't have to worry about her for a good number of hours.
She'll still be in bed for a while.
Right. Yeah. But I had some things that I had to get done that day. my husband was like doing his Sunday morning ritual, checking out news feeds in bed. And I knew I had probably a good hour
before he would get up.
Yeah. So I brewed myself some coffee.
Ooh, I love that.
Right. I was able to watch the sun rising, and I just spent a little bit of time with my journal, which was a big deal. It was really reflective, and it's just a filler.
It's more
it's
a well filler, not a time filler.
No, it's a well filler. It's a filler.
So you spent a little time easing into your morning.
I did. Reflecting
in a way that filled you up. So it wasn't just like a nice, peaceful, easy morning. It
fills
set
me.
you up.
Right. It fills me. And I get antsy when I can't do it. I don't journal every day. I do not journal every day. On a good stretch, I'll journal every day, but it doesn't come around like that very often. Maybe once or twice a week. 3 weeks, I'm itchy, right? Like I just really need to do some writing. And for me personally, people journal in different ways. For me personally, it isn't even like a historical artifact about what's been transpiring in my life. Like it isn't like on this day I did this.
Right.
It's where I'm at. How am I feeling?
It's a check-in.
It is. What am I struggling with? Or even this sounds it's whatever. It sometimes feels, honestly, and this sounds so silly, that it isn't even my words coming through. It is messages to me coming through my hand.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That goes back to intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't come around all that often, but when they do, they stop me in my tracks.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's especially cool that you are you are aware enough to notice that that's what's happened.
Do you know what's super interesting about it? When I look back in my journal, I mean, clearly everybody has particular style in their handwriting. You can tell people, writing.
Yeah, right. Oh,
and
look,
know
Lisa wrote me a note.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
My handwriting changes when that happens. It's weird. It's fucking
weird.
freaky.
That is weird.
Yeah, it changes. It's kind of fucking freaky.
Wow.
Okay, next topic.
All right. Those were all kind of tied together.
Yeah.
Boundaries, all of that. It really, if you don't have any boundaries, you never get to find your well. Right.
Agreed.
So they're all kind of tied together.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do that for your whole life, then you don't know who you are. Right.
Right.
You lose yourself in all of the responsibilities.
Gosh,
You're raising your hand.
Yeah,
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm the poster child.
Yeah.
I think that to some degree, many women feel that
I think that's
same
true.
way. We had somebody reach out after that episode and said, shit, I feel like you're talking exactly about me.
Right.
She said, even my husband said, choose yourself first.
Right.
She said, I don't know how.
Right.
And I get that.
I do too.
Man, I feel that to the tips of my toes.
It was not until I had an empty nest, when I still had kids at home, and this person you're talking about has kids at home.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I had no one else to look at, literally and figuratively.
It sounds like a really damn good idea to put myself first. I have never fucking done it.
Do that.
I do not know how.
Right.
So
it's sad.
In one episode, it sounds so easy, but perhaps, in 2023, here I'm planning ahead already. I didn't even think about this before that, but perhaps in 2023, we take a couple of steps back and say, yeah, that sounds great. Let me figure out who I am, but how in the fuck do I even do it?
Yeah.
Like where do I start?
Right. Oh boy, my head is spinning a little bit with that. All of the different scenarios. It's one thing if you have a partner who is supportive and will help you get some time alone to do something that does help you fill your well, and you can set aside a specific time every, Sunday at 2 o'clock is my time to do X. Like, that's all fine and great, but not everybody has that.
Right.
So how do you find that time?
Or even know what you want to do at Sunday at 2
Or
o'clock.
that.
Like, I have no idea.
Yes.
I don't even know who I am.
Right.
I don't know what I like.
Well, that's how I found pottery, because I literally didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I had an empty nest.
Right.
I had quiet time.
So you dedicated yourself to that. Like, I'm figuring this out.
Right. Until I didn't, because
Right.
then I lost that boundary
Right.
because my life got busy with other people again.
Right.
And it's not their fault. This is my doing.
Right.
It's literally nothing to do with anyone but me.
You just slid back into
To old
some
patterns
old
and
patterns.
habits.
Right.
And kind of like what you were saying about yoga. When you're busy, the first thing that goes is
Yeah,
that.
I get it.
Yeah. Right. And pottery is not one of those things that you can just pick up and put down,
No.
like watercolor painting,
No, you
for
need
instance.
some dedicated time.
You do, right. And it's not, you need some big chunks of time. It's not 20 minutes.
Sounds like you better put a new boundary in place.
Yeah. Well, all right. We'll talk about that next year.
Then we started diving into some real stuff, real physical hormones
Oh, we
type
did.
of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about that either.
We had Pam on board.
We did.
We talked a couple of times
We had
about
2 episodes.
yeah,
with
we
her.
did. Well, 3.
No, but 2 about
Two about
hormones
hormones,
and periods,
yes.
and then 1 postpartum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, transitioning from some of that self-discovery, emotional and mental wellness, and then laying in some of the physical attributes that come along with being a woman and the impacts that has.
Right. Right.
Discoveries. I wish I would have known this shit, I guess, as I was growing up. And when I say growing up, that spans like 25 or 30 years.
Right,
But
right,
like
right.
in my late teens or in my early 20s, where like it's good to know that stuff now. And certainly I'm happy to be able to share that with people I love
Right.
who are in those positions.
Sure.
But what in the hell difference would it have made to my life to understand the ebbs and flows that I have just because I'm a woman?
Yeah.
How spectacular. I wouldn't have spent my whole life hating my period, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
well,
like that I'm being it sounds
I know I do.
sarcastic,
I
but
know
I'm
laugh,
being honest.
I know I get it, and I'm not laughing at you, but I think so. A couple of things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I probably won't remember the second. The first one is: do you think that if you had known this as a teenager, it really would have made a difference in the way that you chose things like nutrition, for instance? Would you still have been having a Charleston Chew and a Coke
Probably.
at work every day?
Probably. I
Right.
wouldn't have had necessarily the foresight to recognize like
Right.
how impactful it was.
Right.
But it would have been in the back of my mind. And then,
So maybe you would have taken that as a tool. It would have been in your tool pouch, but you maybe wouldn't have used it at that time. You would have used it maybe earlier than now.
I did. Right.
Right.
I mean, then I thought I had the world by the balls, so I could do whatever I wanted. And
Because you did.
I was
that's,
right.
That's
right.
the beauty of youth.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Right.
But perhaps as I became a mother, and I was a young mother, so that wasn't that long later. But then things started to like, oh, maybe I don't have the world by the tail, can swing it around so much,
Yeah.
And
In fact, it's swinging me around quite a bit.
right, dunking my head
Yeah.
a few times.
Yeah.
So I think it would have changed like the trajectory
Yeah,
of my life.
yeah.
Maybe not in that moment, but the trajectory for sure.
Yeah. Right. Right. I don't remember the second thing. Dang it.
We need a notepad.
I know.
Put it on the back of that coloring book.
Yeah. Well, 2023, maybe we'll come up with a coloring book. So that kind of wrapped up the season. We had postpartum and Emily and Hudson.
all those
that
little
wrapped up our
baby
season.
squeals.
I know. That little guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we've touched on a number of things
Yeah, we
already
have.
in this season. It's our maiden voyage.
I know.
It's super exciting.
Right. I feel like we kind of we dove in.
We did.
Yeah. We could dive a little deeper on some things, but I don't feel like we tiptoed around the edge so much.
No, we get feedback all the time to
Yeah.
say, your candid conversation, it's so real. And that's why I love it, right?
Right.
I feel like I'm sitting around the table having tea and cake with
know, I
my
love
very
that.
best friends.
I love that.
Or, these are conversations that we have. And it's so refreshing to hear people talking about it.
Right.
So I'm just...
So we'll
it's been a
continue
ride.
that.
It's been really a wonderful ride.
It has
I've
been a
loved
wonderful ride, and I am very excited to continue. Again, diving a little bit deeper into some of these things, expanding into some other areas too. So if any of you listeners have some ideas that you would like us to consider
Please.
and dig into, let us know. We're on Facebook, Riding Sidesaddle Podcast. Let us know. We'd be happy to open up even further. So we've got some really fun things kind of simmering.
Yeah, we're going to work it out. Well, the holidays are happening and we're taking a couple of weeks off. We have some guest speakers that are planning to come on with us in 2023. One of them is we're kind of going to try out this book club concept.
Yeah.
We have a really dear friend who is going to help facilitate that for us in talking about particular books that, are empowering and inspiring. And so we're going to bring that on as a pretty consistent part of what we do in 2023, which is really exciting. And some other things we're going to dive into is taking a look at how personality impacts what you bring with you as part of your personality, and how it impacts all of these things that we're talking about. Wellness and boundaries and wells and all of the good stuff.
Sure. Kind of the things that make you tick.
Exactly. So
Some more intuition stuff. We're going to get into that a little bit.
we sure are.
Yeah. We've got all sorts of things planned. So I hope you continue on our journey with us in 2023, season number 2.
Yes.
Don't go away just because we're taking a little break. We'll still be around and we'll still be doing things, but we just need a little help getting through the holiday season. So we thought rather than stress ourselves out, we would give ourselves a little bit of grace and have a reality check and know that it's just too much.
Walk the walk, girl.
That's it. It's a little too much. So we're just going to take a little break and then come back with a whole bunch of stuff. So don't go away. Please come back and visit when we're back. Continue to look for us, follow, like, share, all of those things. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
And Todd, maybe, I don't know if he's going to get a break or not, but at Mind Garden Media, who puts all of our things together, because we do have a few episodes that we're ready to send to him. So
Yep, we'll keep him running.
yeah, we're just going
Thank you,
to
Todd.
work him like, a
rented mule. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Good thing he's our cousin. He kind of has to like us.
Well, probably not.
Well, like, kind of does.
All right, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We'll be around, and
We
we
will
look
be.
forward to opening up some fantastic things next year
For
with
sure.
you.
Interact with us on Facebook. That's where we mostly are. Yeah. And we're working on a few other things there, too. We're still taking baby steps in that regard. But, reach out to us on Facebook and check in.
All right.
All right. This
Bye.
is a wrap.
Riding Sidesaddle.
Toodaloo.
Adios.
Bye.